Yo, what's up you guys? My name is William. I help people remove their mental and emotional limitations. So what that might look like is anxiety, low self-esteem, different patterns. Maybe you think something's just wrong with you or even missing from you as a human being. So this video is going to be a little less intensive overview of the process I bring those kinds of clients through so that you can start, going from these feelings or even just a little bit or just feeling unfulfilled to, being in that process of removing that baggage so you can actually feel good again and enjoy your life. And there's like a million benefits to this sort of thing. So this will just be the beginning. One thing I do want to say is this is obviously not tailored to you. There might be, there's a million different nuances to this sort of thing. It took me over 5 years to even touch the surface of what was actually possible and the states that you can achieve with this kind of thing. So if this isn't working or if this doesn't work, don't necessarily write it off immediately. Maybe there is, pretty much always the case, there's just something you're missing about the process. You might need a little bit more guidance. There is some foundational work you might need to do before you can actually dive into this kind of thing and make it work for you. But don't worry too much about that. Let's just see how it goes. Don't worry too much about trying to be totally perfect and getting it down immediately as well. But if you do think you might need some extra help or it's not working, you're like, I just want to get this done now and not have to spend all this time figuring it out. Then you can just DM me. My Instagram is in the description. But that is about all, and this is gonna be very practical, so you can kind of do it along with me, or right after this video, you even just get into it yourself. So yeah, let's get started. So the first step is going to be, you can either sit down doing this or even lay down, although be careful falling asleep. And you could also stand up. It just kind of depends on where your nervous system is at. The next step I really want you to do is just get in touch with the body a little bit. So what that's gonna look like is, you could rub your hands together, for example, and just kind of feel what the energy is there, or maybe just feel the blood rushing through your hands. Or even if you are cold or hot, just get in touch with these different aspects of the body, because that's where these emotions are going to be stored, is actually in the body. To give you a quick example, if you're really embarrassed, sometimes people's face will get hot. And so it's just to give you an example, like these emotions kind of have a physical phenomenon. So getting in touch with the most basic aspects of the body is going to be really foundational when you actually get into the emotions themselves. So get in touch with the body. You could even do it artificially like this, like, okay, this is what that feels like. What I like to do is also just feel the weight, the gravity of my going down into my body. That one is helpful. A lot of people just feeling your feet as well. So just really basic stuff to get in touch with it. And then from there, I want you to actually bring awareness more to the emotional state you're in. So let's say you're anxious, or maybe there's nothing really totally active, but there's just like a little bit of unease that's just in your system. You can start there as well. You don't have to be like totally triggered or anything for this to, be very beneficial. In fact, a lot of times you might want to build up to being able to do this while you're triggered. So just start small. So let's see what emotional state you're in. Okay, I just feel a little bit of uneasiness. From there, try and figure out where is that uneasiness. Like I said, when you're embarrassed, it's in your face, or not necessarily, but for some people it's in their face and it's like a heat. So where is that uneasiness in my body? So it could be, a lot of people might have it in their chest. Maybe it's in the main place is going to be the back, the chest, the throat, the face, the stomach, just kind of this region typically. There's all sorts of different cases, but that's typically where I bring my attention to, because that's where the sensations are going to be. So just figure out where is it? Is it in my throat? And you can start small. You don't have to pinpoint it immediately. So is it in my throat? Okay, yeah, it is in my throat. And then from there, you just kind of want to ask it questions and build that relationship to it. Honestly, there's a ton of reasons for that. One of the most important that you need to know is just trying to ask it these questions that I'm going to get into is going to help keep your attention on the sensations so that you don't kind of zone out. Because a lot of times these sensations, you don't really want to focus on them. They might even be scary. A lot of times, most times they're uncomfortable at first. So you don't even want to bring your awareness to them. But asking them these questions that I'm about to tell you will help bring your awareness back into it and keep just bringing that awareness back and back into it. So you stay in touch with them. And because that's the first step to processing, is just getting in touch and bringing the awareness to them. So you're sitting down, you've brought attention to where the sensations are, and now I want you to ask them these couple questions. So one of them is going to be, like, is there a size to the sensations? Like, is it just like a very general area? Or can you kind of zone it into a certain shape even? So the next question is there a shape to this sensation? And one thing I want to point out here is it's important to, what's the word? Just trust what comes to mind. Like even if you can't describe the shape necessarily, just have a mental image of that shape and just kind of go with it. Because you don't have to be perfect. It's just the fact that you kind of are bringing your awareness back and back into it and getting that relationship built to it. It doesn't have to be the perfect shape, the exact shape that it actually might be or not. So don't worry too much about that. So just bring it. What is the size? Was there a shape? Is it tight at all? Is there tightness? Even is there a color? And really important with doing this, a lot of times it's going to be very hard to bring yourself into this zone and ask it these questions and bring your awareness to these sensations you've been ignoring for your whole life. So take it slow. You don't have to rush through these questions. Just go nice and slow. There's a bunch of other questions to ask, but these ones are very good in themselves. You can also just ask. You can make up your own questions, but I'll just keep it nice and simple. Stick to those questions for now. And then the next step from here can go in a couple different directions. So what a lot of times happens, you've kind of built that relationship. You can kind of visualize what these sensations are that are going on in your body. And then from there, once you kind of have that mental image and you kind of visualize them, a lot of times you'll just kind of drop into a deeper layer of feeling them. And so a lot of times your body will even start, once you drop into that deeper layer, your body will kind of tell you what to do next. So this isn't always the case, so don't worry. But let's say I just did all that. I have the relationship built. Now I kind of have that visualization. I'm like, okay, like this is what's going on. Now I might feel like this weird urge to like tense up or something, or even get rid of it. Like I'm like, oh, like I really don't want to feel this, and I'm like trying to tense up against it. So what most people will say is like just relax or whatever. But the truth is that's your body telling you that it wants to get that response of tensing up out of its system. So to be able to relax and genuinely relax, the first step is just letting yourself tense up, because you're getting that response out of your system, that tensing up response. So then you can just naturally relax and let the emotions go. So if you're judging it, for example, let yourself judge it. So like most people say, don't judge your emotions, but that doesn't work for so many different reasons. But one of them is the judgment is an emotion on itself. So you have to allow that judgment. Just judge it as much as you want, hate it as much as you want. So remember, nothing's really off limits here. So going back to what I was saying, you're feeling the emotions and you have that visualization. Then it might be like, oh, like I really don't want to feel this. Just as an example. And you might feel like tensing up a little bit. And so go ahead and tense up a little bit and just see how that feels. Because another way that the body guides you is it will kind of give you a little bit of a satisfaction to when you do those, when you like satisfy those urges. To give you an example that you might realize, or it might have happened to you, if you're really angry, and then you kind of express that anger, it's like there's like a relief to it at the same time that it might be uncomfortable. So kind of look for that satisfaction to it, to the body, as you complete its urges. That's a good way to tell that you're kind of listening and following what the body needs to remove, let go of, eliminate these emotions that are keeping you, feeling anxious. The list goes on. So that's a big chunk of the process. Sometimes also you might just feel like, okay, I'm just sitting here, nothing's happening, and I mean, there's just so many things to talk about and go from there. So I'll just give you one of the scenarios. So if that's still happening, you still don't feel anything, you're just like, okay, like, is this even working? Like, I can feel the emotions, but nothing's really shifting. There's a couple of things that might be going on. I really only have time to go into one of them. And that is going to be asking a couple different questions. So once you have that visualization of what the sensations are, I want you to ask it a couple different questions. This is one path to go down. So what's missing is dropping into that deeper layer of feeling, so that the body, so that you can drop into what the body's telling you, what the urges are. So one of the ways we do that is we ask it questions. For example, like, when were you created? You're asking the sensations this. When were you created? Like, when was the first time that I felt this? What do you want? That one's one of my favorites. Like, what do you want? A lot of times that will open up, like, oh, like maybe there'll be some mental images or something you want to say even, which brings me next to my next one, which is, if the sensations had a voice, what would they want to say or express? A lot of these questions just kind of bring you into a deeper layer of the feeling. And then from there is when the body's urges are more active again. And you can kind of embody them through, like, maybe tensing up or like pushing or just like, or even not really necessarily doing anything, because sometimes you just don't necessarily have to do anything, but just like staying there with them and in that deeper layer of feeling is all you need to do. So these are this is kind of like the main overview of the process, and there's still a lot of nuances to get into. I just want to make this short, still very helpful video, so that you can just put this into practice really whenever you want and just get better at it. Experience is going to be your best teacher almost over anyone. Once, guidance is very important, but also experience is another great teacher. So those two combined, you can let go of so many different things very quickly, but just try this out. Let me know how it goes. Like I said, it might not work for you immediately, or you might need some more guidance, but this should be enough for a lot of people to just get basic results and really to see the potential. Like, oh shit, like there's so much potential of the states that I can be in emotionally and mentally. And, all these things work holistically. So, the mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, they all work together. So yeah, I mean, there's a million benefits to this, once you get everything dialed in. But really, let me know if this was helpful. And if you do want to talk and see how we can transform where you're at now to where you want to be, and see if I can actually help you do that, just shoot me a DM. My Instagram should be in the description. And my YouTube name is also my Instagram name. So let me know how that goes. And I hope this was super helpful. Peace.